Good afternoon, everyone. I am running out of things to say at gatherings like this. Yesterday, yet another shooting. My colleagues talked about speaking with Representative Titus on the floor today. Another member of the Nevada delegation, Congressman Horsford, left the floor yesterday and took the first plane back to Las Vegas because his son was on campus and texting him. This is not normal. Nothing about this is normal. Being killed with an assault type weapon at a bowling alley, a grocery store, a place of worship, an elementary school, it's just not normal. I can tell you the young people from Sandy Hook left the room, and they're around 17. On the day that Sandy Hook, actually the days after, I was a classroom teacher, and my students were the same age as these young people. And the question they asked me has been so piercing over the last decade. Miss, why are the adults allowing this to happen? I didn't have an answer for them in that moment. And I say that because people often talk about this issue as we have to make it's not political, it's not partisan. It is absolutely political because we have the ability as legislators and lawmakers to make laws that keep people safe. It is absolutely political. So I appreciate Sam, once again, young people who said, we have to hold our Republican colleagues accountable because we have the ability to do this. It is not the full Congress. And we need to be crystal clear about what that means and what that looks like. We need to pass universal background checks. We need to, we have the ability to do this. We know that an assault weapons ban will save lives. I thought in my naive state as a civilian that the slaughter of innocent children would be the breaking point for this nation. And now the fact that our news stations know how to cover a mass shooting, that there is a blueprint for what that looks like, that we see it happen so often that before I can get out one statement, another shooting has occurred, that we are literally counting the names and the faces and the stories of the families that are impacted and the survivors who are left behind. This is not normal, and we cannot normalize it. I ran for Congress, not even thinking about this as a political issue, but I can tell you when there were whispers about arming teachers in schools, that terrified me. More guns is not the answer. So I feel privileged even to stand amongst you. I am in awe of your strength. I just know that your loved ones are so incredibly proud of your fortitude and your resilience and the fact that you will never let anyone forget what happened, and you will do everything in your power to make sure that it happens to no one else. And I commit to you. And I'm so fortunate to be a part of a delegation where we lock arms and lean in on this issue. You know, Senator Murphy, who has been a champion on this issue, Senator Blumenthal, my House colleagues, we will do everything that we can to make sure that we are moving in the right direction. And I am so sorry at the slow progress of this work, but I hope you recognize that your work is not in vain. Those young people, I was listening to them speak last night. Whether they know it or not, they had a place in my heart before I ever knew who they were. I held their story close to me before I ever saw their faces. So now to see them answering the question for themselves, why won't the adults do something about this? Just gives me so much humility and I am humbled by their strength. So it is not lost on me, it is not lost on us, and we will stand with you in this effort. Now I'd like to introduce Judy Richardson, the mother of Darian Richardson, whose life was taken by gun violence in Maine in 2010.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm up there without tissues, thanks. But yes, I'm Judy Richardson. My husband is here with me, and that's a picture of our daughter, Darian. Our daughter, 25-year-old, vibrant, beautiful daughter. She was in her own home, in her own bed. Intruders came into her house, January 8th, 2010. And opened fire into her bedroom. She was shot in the hand as she sat up to sort of stop the bullet, right? She rolled over and then was shot again in her leg. It entered by her knee and traveled to her hip, where it was going to remain. She didn't die that night. She was in the hospital almost 3 weeks. We pulled in, we huddled in as a family. We thought our love was going to save her. We're gonna love her better. Ultimately, she died on February 28th as a direct result of her gunshot injuries. Shortly after she was shot, there was another young man shot in Portland. So after the death of our daughter, and the police recovered the bullet from her, they matched it to another homicide, and they called us in. We went into a big meeting in the police department, and we're told that we have good news and bad news for you. We have the gun, but we still don't know where it came from. They matched. There was another shooting in February, and unrelated. There was roommates that fought. One guy pulled out a gun, shot his roommate, and ran off, hid the gun. The police recovered that gun, and they connected it with ballistics to Darian. But what they found out was they went to where he purchased it. They knew the manufacturer, they knew where it was purchased. Then because of the background check, they found out who originally bought the gun retail. But when they went to that man, he said, "Oh, I don't know. I sold it at a gun show as a private sale, and I don't remember. I didn't keep a record. I don't know who I sold it to. I don't even know what day I sold it." And so there it ends. This is another reason, another example of why we need background checks. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing you could. That man, technically, with no law in Maine for a background check, private sale, he did not have to. He did anything illegal, and they can't get any more information out of him. So we've been fighting for background checks for quite a long time. Reducing gun violence is multifaceted, but at the top of the list is closing this background check loophole. We have two systems currently. If you're a federally licensed dealer, you have to conduct, and the people that buy have to pass the background check. But if people know that they can't pass a background check, what do? They go to private sales. Those private sales end up on that black market. There's no black market manufacturing guns. It's the private sellers selling them into the system. We must hold private sellers to the same standard as the federal ones. Background checks are the backbone of any comprehensive gun violence policy. Subsequent laws like waiting periods are ineffective because they can just buy the gun privately. Gun violence is now a public health and safety epidemic. Gun rights and gun violence prevention are not mutually exclusive. I thank everyone, all my fellow survivors, and everyone that does fight on this issue, but we're not going to take no. I stand with everybody, and I just hope it's this time. What's it going to take, right? We say that, we always have these little slogans we keep saying, you know, this is, time is now, let's end it, let's just stop, it's enough is enough. We've been saying that for 14 years. So we really have to make it happen. All of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
If there are any questions, we'd be happy to take them. And if not, again, our thanks to all of you. Really means so much that you're here. And we're going to get it done. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your efforts. We're going to keep going.
We will indeed, yes.